tons of different things. It's amazing what we can do.
Yeah, I don't know if it's easy, but yeah, I mean you can luck out. I mean, I got lucky in a lot of ways to be able to survive my life circumstances. So I mean, I could end up in a lot worse place. But I can't even imagine, growing up now, with the internet. I mean, it's just so much, that you could get your hooks into. It's just, it's just such a expansive universe, such a
Yeah, how do
bigger
we keep the
world
kids
now.
safe, Gary?
Whatever.
Well, like back in your day, um, I know you've got some kind of psychological problems. You said you've got some kind of thing going on, but what kind of escapism did you have back in the day of no internet? For me, it was like the internet really popped out. I was about 13 years old. Weird, and people start to really ruin you unless you can, rise above it and dominate it. But then there's this thing called the internet, such a diversions, such a distraction, somewhere to go when you've got nowhere else to go. And it really is like a world of potential, a world to just do what you want. And in a way, it is kind of a good thing because for so long, I feel that there's been so much potential in people bundled up and hidden because this thing called societal norms and conventions really they humiliated people who came out with anything eccentric, anything unique. And I think the internet with its anonymity really allows people to express that and not have that immediate consequence of I can't go outside and buy groceries without being harassed.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can make friends with people across the world, so you can find people just as nutty as you. It's really easy to do on the internet. Um, so I mean, I just mean that would have meant a lot to me. I know, from just how I grew up, because I grew up feeling so introverted. There was just no way. I couldn't talk about my death philosophy. But you couldn't even say the word. Since you said you were a little depressed, they rushed you off to the loony bin. It was it wasn't nearly. I mean, even now, I mean, it's really easy now because most people are on some sort of medication or something else, so it's no big deal. Um, but my day, you were
What?
seeing a
What's no
psychiatrist or
big?
a psychologist, you were in big trouble, socially.
Fuck yeah, yeah. Good thing, I guess. Internet. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, I think it's good and bad. I mean, I think it also
Yeah,
steals
hardcore for
your
porn.
innocence,
It's a good
you
thing.
know, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. That's one thing. The hardcore porn. That's one
Hardcore
thing you
porn
didn't
for
grow up with.
kids. Thank God.
Man, even me though, I'm old enough to. Um, I grew up in the age of dial-up, so to get a movie of porn when at my age was real difficult. I'm trying to think about how the kids who are 13 now are gonna shape out because
You're
they've
gonna
got
be
access
raping
to
dogs, Gary.
2-hour
I don't
movies.
know if you know it. Raping dogs.
Good night now.
2025 is gonna be one perverted era. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, or the opposite. You know what I'm saying? They're so spoiled, so you know, you know what I mean? Just sex is just some sort of weird way they blow their nose. I mean, it's going to lose all relevance. Um, I mean, there seems to be a
Hope
lot of
so.
that out there. There's a lot of fanny packiness. A lot of this androgynous, sex has just kind of lost its place for a lot of people. I mean, they really seem more interested in going to Dollywood. Who's on American Idol? I can fuck or I can watch American Idol. Oh, I'll watch American Idol.
I can vote. I can watch American Idol. I mean, I don't know. I don't really keep too in touch with a lot of that shit, even though it is my own generation. I am, a little different in that way, but I think, I like to fuck like an animal fucks, and I don't know how much of these changes in society are really gonna change that. I think it's a real part of your nature, and I think the people who don't engage in that are the people who just not got it
Well,
in
I
them in the first place.
know, but I'm just saying, I think it is getting a little bit weird. I mean, I'm just saying there's a lot more. I mean, the whole idea of furries, and I mean, it's just gone in all kinds of weird ass directions. So I'm just saying that it is a little, two women's, one cup things, and I mean, that's just. I'm just saying, and just seeing people. I'm just saying they do seem. Um, I don't know. I mean, the conversations I see are just so strange. It's like they're rating a diving competition or something. When they're talking about having sex with somebody. Oh yeah, it was a 4 or it was a 7, and it's like they're rating blowjobs, and oh, it wasn't really great, or it wasn't. And it's like, how can you have a bad blowjob? I mean, unless you bite something off. I mean, how can it even be fail? But anyway, I mean, it's just like they're talking about it like they're wine connoisseurs or something. And it's like it's just so fucked up.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the contemporary dialogue that you need to engage in order to fit in. I mean, it's like kids would think killing is cool, or think stabbing yourself in the eyeball is cool, as long as everybody's doing it, and as long as you are using the right words to express it. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. It's just the fact that acceptance factor going on.
Yeah, but that's sort of an example of it, though. It's just the way it's all become this mixture of technology and everything else. You can almost see somebody saying, to a woman, "Well, where's the cheat code?" Where do I put in the cheat code? Or you know what I mean? I mean, it's like we can't even get anything to function unless it's got the bells and the whistles, because we're comparing things that shouldn't be compared. I mean, what did I have to compare things to? Like black and white movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, old records.
You're that old, Gary?
Look, I mean, yeah, I grew up. There was 2 channels on TV, Channel 2 and Channel 4.
Holy shit. Not me, man. I can't even imagine. I kind of wish it sometimes, though, because every time I feel bored when I'm outside in nature. I went fishing today, and, there's a few moments where I'm like, this fucking sucks. Let's go back home and let's get on the computer. Let's do something. And I felt bad because I'm like, okay, this is obviously just a product of my upbringing. I just need to learn to enjoy the natural things in life. I don't know if it was, you tell me, without all the little gadgets and widgets, what did you do, and did you feel bored most of the time? Did you feel like there's something else out there you could always be going back
Well,
to?
you
'Cause to
turned
me,
everything into it was the same idea. It's like you're very competitive, so you always find some little thing. So you're either competing against a machine, like a pinball machine, or you're competing against your friends. So I mean, I used to spend a lot of summer days down in the woods, at the stream, and we would have stick races. You know what I mean? Like you'd throw a stick into the stream, right? He'd have his stick, I'd have my stick, and then you'd throw rocks to make your stick go faster. You know what I mean? And so we would, that's how we would spend our day, is having a stick race. You know. But yeah, I mean, I played baseball. We did the usual kid shit. But yeah, I was never bored. I mean, my days are always full.
it's not totally lost. I raced Hot Wheel cars down the driveway, and I did shit like that. Like, I was outdoors quite a bit too, but I guess that's the thing. When I was 7 or 8, I didn't have a computer yet either. But now it's at the point where kids do have computers, and you gotta you gotta ask, what's changing? I mean, TV was bad enough. I watched a lot of TV when I was a kid, and I didn't read as much as I should have. That's something that took hold when I hit like 16 or something. But these days, there's just so much. There's more than TV. There's telephone, there's iPhones, there's computers. There's a whole like wealth of things to distract you and to totally dissuade you from picking up a book. And it's almost like, for me, it took some real life-altering moment for me to really start taking learning seriously. And when I did, it just came on like a torrent, like a flood. But like, is it possible? Like, is the same? If I were to grow up in this next generation, if I was to be 14 years old, where I kind of tipped over the edge and I realized I needed to start doing something meaningful, or are these kids just going to sort of let themselves be whisked away by technology and this sort of 2-minute soundbite videos like YouTube, especially the stupid stuff you're talking about? Are people just gonna live like zombies into the future, their whole lives just watching this shit? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tougher world though too, because just think about any really important, like if you wanted to be a neurosurgeon, the learning curve is so much higher than it was 100 years ago. I mean, all you had to know then was like, okay, there's blood and there's goo. Okay, there's goo up there, and
There's leeches.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't that complicated, But now it's all specialty stuff. Even if you want to be a lawyer, there's contract law and there's this real estate law. There's all this different kind of law, and you have to specialize, and that would be something I'd really hate. I would hate to have to specialize, because that's just this devotion to one thing, and you really gotta love that one thing, to do that, to be that narrow. And that's pretty demanding. So, I mean, it's a tougher environment.
I gotta defend myself there only because I'm going into law in September, and I was saying before, I don't, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but I had to make the choice in '09 with the recession and everything. But even then, I guess tell me if this is a rationalization or tell me if this is possible, but I like to look at things like learning, just like economics, not as, okay, I've got this much potential to work with, and that's it. I gotta find out how to divvy up that circle, that small circle I have, and appropriate it diligently. For me, it's like, no, I'm gonna expand the pie, and I'm gonna just be able to learn a whole bunch of different shit and do it well. I'm gonna learn to be a lawyer. I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna philosophize, and I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna learn English literature, and I'm gonna do that well. And I think there's enough time to do it, and I'm not gonna be lazy doing that. And to specialize, people think you just have to submit yourself to this career. But for me, it's like the age of 5-year careers is in. The age of transitioning between careers is in. It's the information age where technology is it evolves so quickly that we really need to sit down and think about, okay, what is learning today? It's not about learning a certain trade. It's about learning to teach yourself at every point in your life. It's about learning to adapt at every point in your life, especially when you get old and kind of crusty. About learning to fend off the crust and adapt to a new situation. Go from a lawyer to a businessman, from a businessman to a stockbroker to a philosopher. I mean, is that possible?
Well, I think those transitions are possible, but I don't think you're going to go from like, you know, brain surgeon to doctorals in physics or something. I mean, it's just, there is a limitation. I mean, it is 3 pounds of goo, and certainly by disciplining how you organize it, that's all how intelligence works anyway. You can optimize the space, but there's a limited amount of space. There's only so much crap we can shove in there. Yeah, and then you start compromising. For everything new you learn, you have